They are playing Enter the Dragon on Fox Across America. Can only mean one thing. They must have saw our next guest going full Bruce Lee on CNN yesterday, joining us now to take us inside the blow-by-blow account. He is a superstar representative from the 19th Congressional District of Florida. Byron Donald's back on the show. Hey, man.
Hey, so real quick, Jimmy, my phone was on speaker, while you were in break, and I could hear the music, and I was like, is that my theme music they're playing?
You damn right it was. That's your intro. Your intro is Enter the Dragon. Do you feel, is that warranted? Can you sign off? Can you co-sign this?
I mean, it might be more like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the Bruce Lee movie as opposed to Bruce Lee himself, but, I can get with it.
Kareem Abdul-Lee. It's a spin-off series. The Wayans brothers put it out. It's good. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. I get you a walk-on roll. It's going to be great. Let me jump in. I got so much for you. First of all, by the way, we haven't set a date, but I'm supposed to be down in Naples at the Comedy Club in October. So
you are?
Yeah, we didn't figure out the date. Like, Fox approved it. I'm just trying to work the date out with the club. But there's a damn good chance I'm going to be down there. And if that's a thing, you know what I'm saying, you might have to stop by the champagne room after the show.
Well, first of all, I know the Comedy Club, there is no champagne room. So let's establish that one to make sure we're clear for the people listening all across America. Number two, man, I'm going to come in incognito. I'm not trying to be in your material.
No. Stop it. You're on the inside, BD. No way. You're an autonomous zone of comedy. I ain't coming at you. You know that. But I said yes because I also did get an invite from one of your colleagues, our mutual great friend, Kat Kamek. Wanted me to come down to her hometown and do a gig for some organization. But the thing about it is, okay, because, I love Kamek and she's great on the show, but I don't know that I could do a weekend with her and not come back to work Monday with a face tattoo.
Yeah, that's very possible. Kat, she gets you in some trouble now.
That's what I mean.
Make sure she knows I said it. America, mess around with Kat Cameron, you're going to be in some trouble.
That's what I'm saying. She comes on the show, she's talking about, like, rodeo parties and stuff. Like, that's, it's not a safe move for me. So, defense wins championships. We may punt to Naples on that one, but let's talk really quick. I saw the indictment came down yesterday. You were talking about it on CNN, which I love. I love going on the, across the aisle. I've told you that in the past. And I saw the clip that you posted of you, basically dressing down this indictment for what it was. What did Wolf say back to you? Did he agree? Did he push back? Because all the CNN clips I've played were them saying it was underwhelming and it was garbage.
All he was saying was, like, but it's in the indictment. And I was like, what's in the indictment? Like, what's in there? And Wolf was like, but it's in the indictment. I said, Wolf, ain't nothing in there except the fact that Alvin Bragg is trying to say to America that he knows of a crime associated with Donald Trump withholding information in the 2016 election. And he knows so well he can't even write it down in a criminal indictment. That's how much he knows. Which means he knows nothing. Which means that all they're trying to do is figure out this bookkeeping foolishness in New York and trying to find a way to make it a felony. But by the way, if you pull an armed robbery in New York right now in Manhattan, he's going to downgrade that to a misdemeanor. I mean, what's really going on?
It's sick to think that's the case, but it's a real number, man. 52% of the violent felonies have been downgraded. So we're going after a pretend crime at a time when we're not prosecuting real ones. And the fact that he didn't name the crime, okay, just getting away from legal analysis, here's some basic life analysis. Everybody listening has been set up on that blind date where they won't tell you if the person's good looking or not. You ask 5 different ways. I got this girl. How's she look? Oh, great personality. You know what I'm saying? You like sports. She likes sports. Is she hot? Oh, dude. That's the thing. And when we can't name the crime, but you hinge the whole prosecution on that crime, in your opinion, like, didn't he out himself in that moment as just trying to grab the clout of a guy prosecuting Trump so maybe he could fail upward in his party? Because there's no way you could look at this as a legitimate application of justice.
No, I totally agree with that. And the only other slim side of it is that they feel that by holding back what they have, that somehow they're going to, get one by Trump, or they're going to confuse them and have them looking at one thing and they're going to drop the other thing. And it's going to be a big gotcha moment. Mm-hmm. But, I'm not an attorney, so I don't want to speak to the legalese. I'll let somebody else do that. Mm-hmm. But as a regular American, I thought that their job was to present you with what they're charging you with, so you have the ability to bring a defense, not get you in the room and drop some other hammer out. It's like somebody hitting you in the back with a steel chair who's not even involved in the match. Like, dude, some other guy jumped in the ring, hit me with a steel chair, and then I lose, and everybody's like, well, what's going on? How'd that happen? That's not right. That's what this guy is doing. And so I think that voters, people now, forget politics, forget pundits, and forget all the TV lawyers. I think people look at this and they say, "Dag, dude, really? This is all you have, and you can't even tell that man what you're charging him with? Well, you're charging him with a felony, but a felony based on what? And that's the problem."
It's weird. We're talking to Byron Donalds from the 19th Congressional District of Florida, and President Trump is basically, you're in trouble for what you did in someone's dream. Is basically what's going on right now. It's being prosecuted because of what Alvin did and what he did in Alvin's dream. It's bizarre, man. And the thing is, when you look out at the country, okay, if it'd be one thing if we were going to walk and chew gum, but we're not walking and chewing gum. We're not doing either of those things. And it kind of breaks my heart because Chicago had an election last night. Chicago elected another progressive Democrat. It's really crazy that people themselves are indifferent to crime. Do you think we just got used to it on some level?
Well, I don't want to say people got it different because I don't know. Yeah. Historically, the Chicago mayoral races weren't really all that close.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing was like 51-49 is what I saw. So it's like really tight. It's really close in Chicago.
Okay.
But whatever the radical left did to get this guy elected, that's what they chose to do. Chicago is going to have to live with the consequences of electing bad mayors. They've been living with those consequences for quite some time. And the other thing, Jimmy, to also point out, there's been a flight from Chicago.
Yep.
There are people who have just said, I've had enough, and they've left Chicago. So unfortunately, I think what's happening now is that, the people who remain in Chicago, they're still making the same political decisions, but then they're going to wonder why things aren't changing, and who are you going to blame? Like, you can't blame the people who left Chicago. You can't blame Donald Trump, although I'm quite sure they would love to. You can't blame Republicans. They've never run Chicago. So you only got to blame yourself in the same political leadership that has basically put that city into the toilet. I remember the last time I was in Chicago, they were having some fight with Lori Lightfoot because she wouldn't let Mexican Americans have a parade. So they just took over the streets of Chicago every single night. There were no cop cars around, and literally had people in cars just flooding every intersection. It was chaos, but that was Chicago. And it's sad to see that happen. It's already happened in San Francisco. It's happening in New York. It's sad to see this happen in Chicago.
Yeah.
They had a real opportunity. Yeah,
that's what sucks about it. It's a great town, a lot of potential, good sports teams. Although I got to say, the Bulls might have peaked in the 90s as a franchise. Like, there might have been some soul selling that went on because that's a bad franchise. But, Lord knows, what a run in the 90s. Did you watch the Jordan documentary by chance?
Oh, it was great. I couldn't put it down. I watched the whole thing. I binge watched it. It was awesome.
It was just the best, The Last Dance. If you guys haven't seen it, it's so good. And as a Knicks fan, he's beating the Knicks throughout the documentary, but you still enjoy it because it was just such Yeah, go ahead.
Jimmy, real quick. You know what I like about watching that documentary? Is that Michael Jordan was just a cutthroat competitor.
Yes.
He's still cracking jokes on dudes he was beating down in the 90s, and he doesn't care. And I think me personally, having watched the GOAT play basketball, appreciating, all he did for the sport, I like the fact that he's never been able to turn off that competitive, that side of him.
No.
And I think, honestly, and I'm not trying to compare Michael Jordan and Donald Trump, but I think, that kind of edge, that kind of competitiveness, Americans are attracted to that.
Yeah, no,
it's just an observation.
No, they like that. That's that's the fighting spirit, and that's the whole point of sports, which very much overlaps into politics. Is Trump is a guy, if you just put it on a sporting level, that did take on literally everything, all of the media, late night comedy, all the political apparatus in Washington, just in terms of a sporting achievement. Him winning a presidency is really Division Avenue High School, where I grew up, winning the NBA title. It's not supposed to happen. There were a lot of upsets to wind up in that Oval Office, And who knows where it's going to go from here, but Lord, there's no shortage of obstacles. Like, they're throwing everything at him. And my frustration is, and this is where I think this is effective for the Democrats, it's been a lot of airtime given to Trump. We're not really talking about what the guy in the Oval's doing right now, and it ain't pretty. Like, I'm sure you saw these Chinese spy balloon revelations earlier in the week. You know, the story's changed on that quite a bit. It went from it didn't matter, they didn't get any data, to now they got some data. This time next week, we'll know they have the login codes to all of our bank accounts.
Oh, look, let's shift to the Joe Biden side of this segment.
Yeah.
Yes, you are correct. Found out that the Chinese actually were spying on us. They got all the data that they needed. So him waiting a week to shoot down the spy balloon was really just him trying to save his butt politically, but the damage has already been done.
Yep.
You have China, Russia, a couple other countries are now trying to figure out some new currency to buy and sell oil, to not use the U.S. dollar. Yeah, that's a great one for America. You have a situation where he's still pushing this crazy Green New Deal stuff, which will allow the Chinese only to get more of our money, because we're going to be buying all of our batteries and solar panels from, guess what, America? The Chinese. Yep. That's a real winner there. And then, we found out a couple of weeks ago, and the press talked about it for about 2-3 days, and then they did what they always do. They moved on, said they covered it. But hey, Hunter Biden and Jim Biden did get money from the Chinese companies. Yep. And some of it went to some account named Biden. I mean, I saw the money go to Jim Biden. I saw the money go to Hunter Biden. I saw money go to Hallie Biden, Beau Biden's widow. God rest his soul, Beau Biden. Who's this other Biden? There's a fourth Biden that was getting money. Is it a grandson? Is it Dr. Jill? Or was it the big guy? I don't know where that money's going. That stuff's still out there. And by the way, real quick, that was one transaction.
Yep.
There are other transactions we're investigating right now. So while all this crazy sophomoric stuff is happening with the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, the United States is dealing with a president who's not doing his job. Frankly, he sucks at his job, and he actually might be compromising on the take.
Imagine that. Yeah.
That's above the fold material right there, Jimmy.
No, I feel like that should be everybody's A block, and it is a lot of the times around here. If you've noticed, you get a lot of James Comer appearances on the channel. Are you giving him style tips? Because he does look better on TV. I asked him about it.
I told him, man, I said, look, Comer, just let me, whatever you do, just let me see you before you hit the camera. He was like, all right. So the best he can, I go by there, tighten it up, and then he goes out and does what he does.
No, he looks good. Even Jordan was on the show last week. I asked him if Comer got like a product endorsement, because even his hair is all jazzed up now. Comer's going Hollywood on us. Just, keep an eye on him.
Shout out to Mrs. Comer. She's making her husband look good.
Yep, that's what's up. That's what's up. Somebody's been going to Kohl's and doing the heavy lifting in this operation. BD, great stuff as always. I'm glad you signed off on that intro song. It matters. We got it, because we kind of treat like a pro wrestler on this show. You don't see it, but when you come on, like, pyrotechnics go off. We just released Doves. It was a whole to-do.
With the Doves, too?
Yeah, no, we go big, man. We represent. You're like the intercontinental champion of talk radio.
Oh, man, this is like some Nature Boy Buddy Rogers stuff. You thought I was going to say Nature Boy Ric Flair. You see how deep I went there, Jim? I went like Buddy Rogers on people.
Yo, that was a cut, man. That was a cut. I feel like I'm sitting on a crate drinking. This is great. All right, well, we'll do it again. We'll have your singlet ready to go. We'll check in soon.
All right, see you, brother.
Thanks, man. That's a Buddy Rogers reference. Davey, if you're listening up at WIBX in Utica, I hope you're sitting. That was deep. That was a deep cut. That's why you love Byron Donalds. All right, we're back in the ring after this.
You're listening to the hottest show in the country.
Our country is in serious trouble.
This is Fox Across America with Jimmy Failla.